Sumaya from Kashmir Despatch. I welcome you all in our exciting series of interview of women who choose to be inspiration in action. Today our guest is Sandra Mak. She is basically from US and right now she is running an educational institution here in North Kashmir's Baramulla district. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Tell me something about your upbringing. I want to know where did you grow? How did you grow? Questions like these keep coming up. So tell me something about your childhood, your upbringing.
Well, I'm from the United States. I grew up in the Chicago area, about an hour from Chicago, in Illinois or in Indiana. Then I've lived and traveled pretty much most of my life. So I've lived a little bit everywhere in the United States. I grew up in a nice family, loving people, in a Christian family. And like I said, I've been pretty much all over the United States. My schooling is, I'm a cardiac nurse by trade, but I'm retired now. And I was also a large business owner in the United States.
So what about your passion? Tell me something, want to do this. Do you think that your parents have that influence that you should do this, do that, you should not go for this?
Well, actually, when I accepted Islam and moved to Kashmir, I lost my whole family and everyone I ever grew up with. And so recently I have had contact with my mom, and we're trying to mend relationships. But since they're from a Christian background and I'm from a Muslim background, there's a little tension there.
I personally think that moving abroad is a challenge. So what were your reasons that you moved from US to Kashmir?
Like I said, I accepted Islam when I was in Kashmir, and for myself, I found it difficult. The area I lived in, there was no masjids, there was no place to even buy halal food. I lived in the countryside, and I was the only Muslim in my area, so I found it very difficult living there. So I just thought, I want to live in a more Muslim area. So I decided that's what I was going to do, and it just so happened that God guided me to Kashmir.
Okay, as you said that you worked as cardiac nurse. So at what point of time you realized that you're meant for business or education sector? You thought that I'm going to get into this sector.
Well, actually, for about 17 years, I was a cardiac nurse, also med surg and wound care, and I love taking care of people, especially old people. They have my heart. But then when I came to Kashmir, I didn't have an Indian license to practice medicine, and I didn't fit in here as a nurse because my job description is a little different, and they really don't offer it in the capacity that I would practice medicine here. So I was lucky enough to come upon Arifin School of Excellence, and I applied for the position. With my business management skills, as I said, I owned a very large resort in the United States. I gave that up when I accepted Islam because it was not a halal business. It was a resort. It had 2 swimming pools, a hot tub, a dance hall, stuff like that, and I didn't think it was appropriate for a Muslim female to own that, so I just walked away from it. And like it says, when you give up something for the sake of Allah, God replaces stuff with better. And He replaced my cardiac nursing and my business with Arifin School of Excellence. And I am very happy with that because I get to see 240 kids 6 days a week, and I work with wonderful teachers and wonderful staff members.
Okay, so being a working woman, it's very difficult. You have to manage a lot of things. So manage your life balance and your work.
Well, alhamdulillah, I have a very supportive husband and a very wonderful, his family's very wonderful, and they support me 100%. That is very important.
Right.
You have to have support, especially being a woman,
Mhm.
of your in-laws. If you don't have that support, then you will not succeed in business. So, alhamdulillah, like I said, my family supports me 100%. My husband supports me 100% and encourages me to be productive in society within the realm of Islam.
Okay, you have been working since the age of 16.
Yes.
So, any challenge or any reward that you get till now?
Yeah. In my country, it's a little different than here. People start working at a young age. The harder you work, the longer hours you work, you're considered a success. Now, I find for success, whether you're male or female, you get what you put into it.
Right.
If you're not willing to put in and work good hours, long hours, to make your business or the company you work for a success, then it won't be a success unless you put into it. If you just show up to work like it's a paycheck, you will never succeed. So, at an early age, in my country, I learned this lesson. Americans have very good work ethics, and I try to instill that here. Your work is more, especially a school, is more than just a job. You're taking care of other people's children and opening new minds. So you have to put effort into that.
Right. Huge responsibility.
Yes. My first job was actually decorating donuts. I was 16 years old.
Oh.
You know, my work ethic is a little different than people here in Kashmir. If you're a supervisor, you should be able to do any job in the school. You should be able to help out anywhere. So I encourage my staff, even if you're an educator, you see a piece of paper, pick it up. You know, no job is too little for anyone. And if you want a company, a school, anything to succeed, you have to work like that.
Okay, if we talk about the present scenario of our education system, what do you think, what are the key areas that should be prioritized for improvement?
I think teacher training. You know, the teachers, they go through college, they go through university, and then they get a job and they stop. They shouldn't. The world is evolving, changing. These new minds need to be with the freshest, newest information and knowledge. I think that the education system falls short with teachers on educating them further, continuing education. It falls short on giving the supplies that and the infrastructure that you need in a school to help produce successful children. I think India as a whole is in the process of trying to change that, and they finally see the importance of it. Now, our school, alhamdulillah, they supply us with everything we need. We have continuing educational programs for our teachers to help make them better people and more knowledgeable people. If every school were to do this, imagine the type of student you could produce if you have good teachers. The key is good teachers and a good infrastructure. If you have those, then you'll have good students. You really will.
Okay, so what one piece advice you would give to our viewers, especially young women?
Young women, the advice I like to give is a little harsh. One, it's not a struggle for a woman. They call it a struggle for a woman, and they call it a sacrifice for a man. It's not a struggle, it's not a sacrifice. It's taking whatever life throws at you, working hard, and dealing with it. If you consider yourself a victim because you're a woman and that you can't grow strong and survive in this men's workforce, then you're going to be a victim. But if you consider yourself a hard worker and you strive and you try, then you'll succeed. You get what you put into it, whether you're male or female.
Thank you so much.